Dimon just recently wrote a letter to shareholders for the year of 2024. It was a very big compendium of wisdom, and it is very reasonable source to understand the current condition of economy. This letter is issued to work as a note to the financial health of the JP Morgan. And yeah, the earnings were strong, I guess. And yeah, I can use this letter to show you how the JP Diamond thinks about the current condition of economy, tariffs, and what the Trump has been doing right now with the United States. So let's get into it. First, JP Diamond just targeted the GDP of United States. It said that it is going to be over 3% growth for this year. And also historically gone through the GDP ratios. And he said from that to year 2000 to year 2024, the GDP has been stagnant at almost 2% growth rate. But it would have been 3% if the government has implemented policies in a better way. So he just explained that he's going to be talking about the domestic policies first, which includes education, infrastructure, tax policy, fiscal policy, and then it is going to be talking about the policies which need to be fixed, which are out of the United States, like the foreign policy. He just made a hit on the politics. Yeah, he said that the policies which are being implemented and which are going to be the future policies must be accepted and implemented in a very reasonable way apart from the political side of it. Yeah. There are a lot of policies in the United States and all over the world just get under the scrutiny of the politics. A lot of major parties does not want the same policy to be implemented in the country, and the party which he has been negotiating the deal for that policy just want to do so because of their own political interests primarily, not because of the uh, betterment of the whole country. So he just talked about this a little bit first. He said that this is gonna be done through the good communication of the policies with the public. Yeah, he said that good politicians are also good at politics, but also at the policies at the same time. They don't make a conflict between their own interests and the country's interests. And then he said that the parties must not go into the extremes of their ideologies, so that policies which are being drafted must be in the balanced form, not about their political ideology solely in the extremes of their agendas. Yeah, I can say something. A lot of parties try to differentiate from the other one by just going to in the opposite direction of that party. Yeah, they are not actually wanting that thing to happen. They are saying, but they are just doing that because it is the opposite of what the major party is doing right now. So yeah, this is a problem. And here, JB Diamond says that this should not happen at all. And he also targeted the executive level positions at the government and says that the running for an office is just a different thing from the running a government. So they need a better grip on implementing policies which are for the betterment of United States. Jamie Dimon is a big supporter of free trade. He says that we need to promote the business is small, big, and large at the same level. And also, he targeted the regulators and government agencies and said that the many of these regulators and agencies try to target specific companies with specific labels like price gouging. He just mentioned that, and try to implement the regulations against the whole industry, not just a few companies who are the bad actors. So he said that this should not happen at all. He have shown the importance of the free trade by saying that there are about 30 million businesses right now in America. And about 85% of the research and development has been done through the companies which are almost have nearly half of the non-residential capital. And the capital which is sourced from the outside of United States. It then shifted towards the foreign policies and said that our strength is primarily sourced from our relationships with our allies, like the other countries in the West. And then he said that the economic fragmentation between these allies, like right now in the Europe, needs to be sold somehow, because if they are going to be fragmented and they are not going to be strong enough, then the position of the America in the global space is gonna be a very dismal. He further supported his stance by saying that GDP per person in the Europe in the 2007 was 75% of the United States. Now it is almost a 50% of the United States person's GDP. He suggested a solution to the Europe for this problem and to make them become stronger is that they need to initiate the economic zones, and they need to actually make the free trade more accessible for themselves between the countries. And also, he said that they need to make the labor reforms and the tax reforms to make the investment easy for the businesses, and making the age of business a big thing for the people around the world. Because there are a lot of unnecessary regulations in the Europe, European Union, which makes the businesses to do their stuff very hard. He said that if the economic fragmentation of the Europe is gonna be happening, then the situation will be more of like the before the World War II. He said that each state, each country is gonna be motivated by their own specific interests, and if that's gonna happen, then they are gonna be tapping the Russia for energy and also China for the trade and economics. He summed up all of this thing by saying that the America first is fine, just that's whatever the Trump is saying right now. But it is fine unless it turns out to be America alone. That's what Jamie Dimon said. He targeted China in a very unusual way. He said that China is at a very complex geographical location. Yes, and also its relations with its neighbors like the Korea, Japan, are also not so good. So, but what the China actually did is that while knowing that they need to import about 10 million barrels of oil each day, and on the other side, the United States is 100% energy efficient, they choose a very different course of action. They made their military strong. They made their internal infrastructure strong, and they invested a lot on the national security. That's what made the China a very big thing in front of United States. He said that the United States should not be feel threatened from China, and US just simply needs to adjust to China. And he said that what we need to be threatened a bit is the unfair multidimensional trade that China has been doing, and also the reliance of the United States for the national security components on China. And he also mentioned that Taiwan, that we need to be not outsourcing our chips and these kind of stuff from Taiwan. We need to our own space for doing that to become the leader in the ways of artificial intelligence. And ultimately, he said that if America keeps its strong leadership and also make their allies strong, then the China would be better off making the trade partnerships with the allies of United States than instead of the nations like Russia and Iran and other ones. He also further take a hit on the global trading system. He said that about $20 trillion of the trade happens around the world each year. And from these $20 trillion, the $2.5 trillion of the trade happens with the United States. He said that we should take pride. Yeah, we should take pride, but not so much and not so much delusional in this pride that we forget that the other trading partners have other choices also. And one big flaw in the trading system is that the United States makes a lot of trade agreements with a lot of countries. And he has said that it could be done through these trade agreements. Like the China has trade agreements with a lot of other countries. And Europe also have almost 50 trade agreements with the different countries. So the United States must also make these trade agreements with the countries, but also make the agreements to not to trade with the other countries, which the United States has banned or implemented tariffs on and this kind of stuff. He further took a hit on the unfair trade through industrial policy. He said that the industrial policy should be implemented if it is going to be implemented in the right way, or either it should not be implemented at all. One important factor in doing so, he said that the market should allocate the capital, not the governments, because the government is so bad at allocating the capital. The government should just need to give the space the tax credits or these kind of stuff, and the overall the generalized environment for the businesses to conduct the businesses. Not just implementing the capital by itself in different sectors and different niche sectors. If this space, generalized space, is gonna given to the companies, then the companies are gonna compete between themselves, and they know the best. They how to make the pricing strategies to compete between themselves. So it is gonna be the survival of the fittest. The company which is gonna be the more good at doing this stuff going to be successful, and it's an ultimate success for United States. And other thing is that the services economy gonna be shifted towards the manufacturing economy. The Diamond provided a solution for this. He said they're gonna be trade adjustments assistant program which can retrain the staff, provides the income assistance, and provide a relocation for the workforce. He made a very big hit on the trade deficits. He said that the trade deficits are not inherently bad, which are portrayed like it is a bad thing. But it can be a good thing, and a part of the trade deficit of the United States is kind of a good one. He said that sometimes our country's trade deficit is because of the attractiveness of the country towards the investment. And when this investment arrives in the United States, it indirectly makes the country to grow and prosper. And after explaining this phenomena, he just gone towards the investment surplus, which is the opposite of the trade deficit. He said that right now, about $30 trillion are being held in the foreign investment accounts. Foreigners hold these United States securities. And the domestic investors hold about 16 trillion of the dollars. But in the year 2005, the statistics was $6.3 trillion for the foreign investors and $4.3 trillion for the domestic investors. He said that this shift and the growth in the investment surplus is very good for the economy of the United States. Also, in the letter, he blamed that the over trade deficit is because of the policies of the government more, not just because of the trade itself. He emphasized the fact that if somehow America will become a less attractive investment destination for the foreigners, then the economy of the United States and the United States dollar gonna suffer a lot if these foreigners gonna sell their assets, the United States assets. And then he continued saying that the strong economy plays a very big role in making the United States dollar our reserve currency and keep and maintaining its status like that. He mentioned that a lot of people thinks that the United States dollar is a fiat currency. It is only backed by the matter of the trust. But he simply denied this fact, denied this philosophy. He said that each dollar the Federal Reserve issues, in the back of that dollar, the Federal Reserve owns an asset, which can simply be a U.S. Treasury security. Those assets carry the full faith of the US government, which is backed by the taxing power of the government. And after explaining this factor, he said that to protect the reserve status of the United States dollar, the good trade should be enabled to flourish. He explained this phenomenon by saying that a lot of people outside of the United States hold United States dollars because of the needs of their trade. So they hold almost 2.5 trillion of the dollars outside of the United States. And the United States save almost 100 trillions of dollars in the foregone interest payments. So it is indirectly beneficial for the United States. And if the trade is going to be restricted, then these kind of benefits will not be seen in the future. So this was all of the main factors I highlighted from the shareholder letter of Jamie Dimon. I hope you're gonna like this video, and if yes, then don't forget to show some support. Bye.